And we're live, ladies and gentlemen. Sunday Service, episode number 44, I think it is. Last night, UFC 314 went down. We made some serious coin. Some serious coin was made. If you want to talk about the coin we made, we can talk about the coin that we made. But I'm sure you guys don't really care how much money I made, unless you actually made it with me. We want to talk about the fights that happened last night. Volk getting it done? Vintage Volk? What would a rematch with Volk and Topuria look like? Diego Lopez? Definitely not Topuria's level. I got to say, Diego Lopez looked a little bit lackluster last night, but you got to give Volk his credit. He was very effective throughout the fight. And good to see Volk win, man. Good to see Volk win. Obviously, I didn't pick him. Obviously, I bet on Diego. But ultimately, at that point, all that mattered to me was Diego lower on significant strikes. I didn't give a shit if Diego won or not. All I wanted was Diego lower on significant strikes just to cash me in. But main event, honestly, I didn't think it was like the greatest fight. I thought it was like pretty decent. You know, Diego had a moment or two. But for the most part, Volk just kind of cruised. Co-main event, Michael Chandler, dunzo, boys. Absolutely dunzo. Paddy Pimblett. I said it before the fight, they're matching him up as easy as they can. But he did absolutely dominate Michael Chandler, which a lot of people haven't done. Specifically, you know, Justin Gaethje, I wouldn't say dominated him. Poirier didn't really dominate him. Like, he's had moments against a lot of these guys, even Charles Oliveira. So for Paddy to pretty much dominate him, impressive. Yair, easy fight for Yair there. That wasn't really much of a sweat. Jon Silva, boys. Jon Silva. That dude might just become champ. Imagine Jon Silva, like, honest to God. Imagine Jon Silva versus Alexander Volkanovski right now. I know we just saw Volk 49-46 Diego Lopez. But I think Jon Silva puts him in a body bag. I'm just putting it out there, okay? Some people might agree, some people might disagree. But if Jon Silva and Volk faced off right now, my money would be in the hands of Jon Silva. Okay, I would back that guy against Volk right now in a blink of an eye. Absolutely insane performance from Jon Silva. Made Bryce Mitchell look like he did not belong in there. Absolutely not. And you knew, I said it going into the fight, you're going to get the best version of Bryce Mitchell. And I think we got the best version of Bryce Mitchell, but Jon Silva is just that good. Absolutely toyed with him. Toyed with him like he was the easiest fight he's ever had in his life. Like, it was honestly, I kind of felt bad for Bryce. Like, Bryce just couldn't do anything in there. Like, couldn't get a takedown. Anything that he threw at Jon Silva. Jon Silva literally wasn't even looking at Bryce for some of the points in the fight. He was looking outside the cage, taunting Bryce, while Bryce is trying to hit him with stuff, and he's not. It's crazy. Dominic Reyes is back. I guess he might be back. That fight pretty much went exactly how I thought it would. You know, I think Krylov would probably rush in and either get countered with the left hand from Dominic Reyes, or he would find the chin. But Dominic Reyes, nice little counter. Knocked him out. Prelims were pretty solid. Actually, the first few fights were really solid. We can talk about those, but let's get to the chats, boys. I appreciate y'all for joining me tonight on the Sunday. Before we get into the chats, we got to hit the old celebratory Chino top shelf. Last night when I jumped in the lake, I jumped in and my Zin fell out of my lip. But it's all right. We made the money. We can get some more. Chino in the top shelf. Let's hit the chats. Wonder if they'll do Paddy versus Ilya. That would be a sick fight as well. I think Ilya would smoke him, but Paddy is fairly big for lightweight. You never really know if Paddy's grappling is that dominant that he could get it there. Krylov KO absolutely got smoked. Paddy the baddie, the king of significant strikes. Hey, Jive, let's go. Let's go, Matthew. I hope you tailed. I hope that you made some coin with me. Congrats on the big win last night. I appreciate that, brother. I told the Discord we are so due. We've been getting so close. We've been going 6 of 8, 7 of 8 on the better picks. We did hit a 5-legger. on UFC London, what, just 3 weeks ago or something like that. So we did hit it, a 5-legger a few weeks ago, but to absolutely sweep the board, I felt like it was coming. I felt like it was coming. Unfortunately, I had 5 units on Diego, but you saved my night big time. Thank you, brother. Well, good. At the end of the day, if it gets saved from a 5-unit loss, that's good stuff. Diego needed to be more aggressive. Damn right he did. Damn right. I didn't get the Bryce hype one bit. Yeah, I mean that's why I didn't really want it to like play a factor in my analysis of it, because like before all this Bryce hype a few days before, I'm like, Jon Silva should beat this guy. Okay. He's way more physical. He's a way better striker. And I don't think his ground game is that bad. So I'm ultimately kind of pissed I didn't bet on Jon Silva. Like when the line came down to minus 190, I was like scratching my head. I was like, am I missing something? Ultimately, I laid off, but we did have the lower on significant strike, so that was nice on Jon Silva. But in hindsight, that was free money, boys. Free money. What about Silva versus Topuria, though? That one's a little bit different, but I do think Jon Silva could give him a tough run. A tough run. I'm just thinking, the way that Jon Silva hits and how good of a counter striker he is, I think he would put away Volk. If like Diego's a powerful striker, but he's not the most technical guy. He doesn't really have good setups. He's not really a good counter striker. He just has some points in his fights where he makes the right move and he lands, and that's how he knocks guys out. Kind of like how he landed that uppercut on Volk, how he landed that right hand over the top in round 2 to knock him down. But he's not out there like just making you pay for everything. Like Diego at times can't be a punching bag, and that's what we saw last night. There's levels to it. There's absolutely levels to it. Silva beat Bryce everywhere. He did absolutely beat him everywhere. I thought he had that guillotine in round 1, but then I was like, dude, there's no way Bryce is going to tap to this. And then he got caught in the ninja choke, and there was no getting out of that ninja choke. He squeezed that tight, dude. He squeezed that so tight and so fast. Bryce could barely get the tap off before he went to sleep. Why do you think there's such a holdup at lightweight? Nobody has a fight. Well, they're probably waiting to book a card kind of like we had last night. Last night we had 4 featherweight bouts. You had Ige Woodson, you had Silva Mitchell, you had Yair Patricio, and then you had Volk Diego. So there was 4 featherweight bouts. They like to do that usually, where you get like 2 or 3 matchups in the same weight class. So maybe that's what they're waiting to do. If they do like Charles and Topuria, Gaethje and fuck, dude, they could do like fucking Gaethje and Pimblett. That'd actually be sick. How about that Volk win and Reyes win? We are back, dude. Shout out to the OGs. The OGs got their dubs last night, except for Chandler and Patricio. I guess Bryce Mitchell's kind of an OG, but whatever. Oh, some OGs showed up. All right, definitely not Darren Elkins though. Darren Elkins, that was a rough watch for Darren Elkins. Diego versus Yair would be fun. I think that'd be sick. I think they should make that next. They already got beef. Why not? Why not make it? Why not? Hey, Job, tell the DFS, thank you so much. Props to you for tailing the kid. Props to you, Cameron. I tell everyone every week, if you tail me on the DFS plays, you will make money over the long term. So if you haven't done it already, like there's a clear issue. A clear issue. Hold on, I gotta fix this smoke detector. I'll be right back. Smoke detectors, it's been on and off. I don't know what's going on with it, but hopefully it doesn't beep anymore. I know if I was watching a live and a smoke detector was, you gotta be shitting me, bro. You got Unbelievable. I apologize. I apologize. Hopefully we don't hear that again. Can we all agree about Gary smoking Prates? I don't know about smoking, but he'll probably I think he'll win. But we all got to remember that the fighting nerds have not lost. The four main fighting nerds still have not lost. Do I want to go against that? Probably not. Probably not. So I might be looking towards Prates. I got to watch more film on it. We got a couple weeks, boys. I'm not going to dive in too much because fights get canceled, stuff like that. So I'll probably just lock in on PFO this week. Maybe I'll have a early picks video, something like that, but we'll see. After last week, the cycle parlay is due only up from here. Cycle parlay. It'll hit every once in a while, but that's all it needs to hit. Thanks for the DFS picks, bro. I appreciate you. You're welcome. Yeah, you're calling for the title shot since he was promised it. If he wins versus Pitbull. Volk versus Yair 2 would suck, boys. That would suck. That would absolutely suck. I don't know. I mean, they should just do Volk versus Evloev. I think that would be a sick fight. Might not be like the biggest draw, but I think it would be a sick fight. John Silva by sub plus 1,200 wild. Not a soul had that ticket. It was plus 1,200? Wow. In hindsight, fucking great bet. An amazing bet. A bet that I would make in hindsight. It's just the fact that John Silva never goes for subs. But, you got to factor in that Bryce Mitchell's going to be looking to take him down. So I guess that played into it. Plus 1,200, sharp. Absolutely sharp. Arnold Allen gives Silva problems. Maybe. Allen's pretty durable, so maybe. My 3 exact time parlay didn't end up hitting. Ooh, yeah. Is that the one that you DM me or tag me on IG? I think it was. That one was crazy. Crazy. The last leg was what? Diego Lopez, Volk to end between 2 minutes and 2 minutes and 59 seconds of the first round or something like that. Nuts. Because of you, I have enough for some new tires and alignment. Good. Good to hear, brother. Yeah, absolutely not. Jean Silva by KO should have taken the money line. Yeah. Or inside the distance. I think his KO was plus 120. Inside the distance was minus 110. Those are the ones that hurt. Those are the ones that hurt for sure. I guess it was too early for Diego. That's a thing. I don't know if it was too early for Diego. He just fought very reserved. I don't know if he was just trying to pace himself because it was a 5-round fight. But usually he's more in your face, throwing, making stuff happen. He was in the face of Volk, but Volk was just sticking him with a jab, moving around, and he couldn't get into range. Volk just kept his range really well. And I think Diego was just not used to that type of fight because all of his other opponents, Brian Ortega stands right in front of you. Sadiq Yusuf stands right in front of you. Sabatini, Shinny, he pretty much just shucked his takedown and knocked him out. So, I mean, I guess Dan Ige kind of stands in front of you too. So that's just a weird style for Diego that he probably hasn't seen. And it's one of the best fighters of all time. No doubts about it. So he was probably he just didn't have the experience to carry out a game plan of a guy that wants to keep his range and has really good footwork. So yeah, Diego didn't look his best, but I think that's probably due to Volkanovski doing what he does. Bryce is still cool, legitimately a good man. Good for him for having no fear and trying his best. He did try his best. I think Bryce is an interesting person. That is for sure. I don't know why. I don't know why people are hating on him so much now that he lost. Because I don't think there was that much hate leading up to the fight for Bryce. If anything, there was a lot of love for Bryce leading up to the fight. And now that he lost, everyone's just coming for him, laughing that the neo-Nazi got submitted. It's okay, cool, bro. He's in the UFC and you're like trying to hate on him. Where was this hate before the fight? A lot of people were loving him. But if you still stand by Bryce and you still support him, props to you. Because that's the worst. When a fighter gets all this love before the fight and then they lose and then they just get hate, it's like, come on, bro. Like, it's just stupid. You're either going to ride with him or not. Was it me or Bryce looked silly as shit? I think he got tired, bro. I think he got tired after like round 1. And he probably started to panic a little bit because he was kind of getting, I don't want to say exposed. He was getting like punked out there. Like Jon Silva was punking him. Basically just dancing around like this guy couldn't do anything to him. And it's true. Like Bryce Mitchell couldn't do anything to Jon Silva. Absolutely nothing. And everything Jon Silva threw hurt him. He was stuffing all the takedowns. He was putting him in submissions. Like Jon Silva made him look bad. So I think he probably started to panic and he tired out and got tapped. Won me $200 last night. Good stuff, brother. I want to personally apologize to the call-in show guest who called Silva sub. Was it No Shama? I don't remember who it was, but there was somebody that said Silva sub. It might have been our boy Jake, but I don't think his other legs hit. But I did think he called the sub. Putting 200 on Prates, what you think? What's the current odds? Because I know last week when we checked, he was like plus 115. That's not bad. I got to check it out. See if the line has moved at all. If it has moved, I would probably expect it to tighten instead of widen. UFC Kansas City. Yeah, he's plus 100 now. I think he was plus 112 last week. So it's tightening a little bit. Plus 100 on Prates. Not bad. Norma Dumont, BF, showed up big versus Tresean Gore. Dude, that was one of the brutal watches of the night. Like, Tresean Gore got his ass whooped. That beating he took might have took a few years off his life. I got to give him props because the guy got knocked down and just ultimately beat up for the entire, 8.5 minutes that it lasted. But he never really gave up. He got hit with 127 significant strikes in 8 minutes, and he landed 17. So that was one-way traffic the entire fight, except for like one moment when Tresean hit him with like a left hook. It kind of got the footwork of Tulio off balance. But other than that, Tulio put it on that guy, and that dude is going to be hurting for a while because he was a punching bag for 8 minutes. Body shots, leg kicks, big punches to the head kicks. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Charles versus Paddy, I would like to see that. I would love to see it. I think you put those two guys together in a cage, the UFC wins either way. The UFC wins either way because they love Charles, of course. Charles beats Paddy. He's the guy that beat Paddy. If Paddy beats Charles, Paddy just takes over Charles's position. He's the new cash cow. If Paddy beats Charles Oliveira, oh my God. Like, the UFC is going to be having a major hard-on, okay? Because they love Paddy. I like Paddy. I like Paddy. I think he's a fun guy. I think he's a solid fighter, like a little bit underrated at times. I do think his level of competition has been pretty favorable. But if you go in there and beat Charles Oliveira, like, you got to get a title shot next. So Charles versus Paddy would be sick. I don't think Ilya versus Islam is in the works. I have my doubts as well at this point. Chandler and Pitbull need to head to GFL. Well, the GFL might not be a thing anymore at this point. I saw that they had their event canceled because one of their main investors couldn't put up the funding or wasn't putting up the funding. So that's not a good look, because if your main investor doesn't want to fork out the money for the event, then that ultimately means that investor does not believe in your vision. And they believe something's probably going to be going wrong very soon. And if your main investor isn't putting it out, I don't know that any other main investor is going to put it out. So Well, yeah, that's a pretty bad look for GFL. I didn't think it was going to last long. I thought maybe they'd have a few events, but right now they don't have any events. Not a good look for GFL. All the fighters that got signed, not great for them because they were probably promised way too much than what they're actually going to get delivered to them. GFL I honestly thought it was a joke. Like, you look at it, you think it's a joke. The promos, the format, how much money they're supposedly giving these fighters, it just makes no sense from a business perspective. It just There's no way it can work. And it hasn't even had an event yet. Like, oh god, GFL, come on. What's your thoughts on Montel Jackson versus Daniel Marcos? I think Montel could win that. Yeah, I like Daniel Marcos, but Montel has some power in his hands. Pretty solid wrestler as well. And Daniel Marcos, I think Daniel will probably be winning the fight until he doesn't. But Montel is not like some world beater. He's very good. He could beat a lot of guys. It's a close fight. I'd probably line it around a pick 'em, honestly. Around a 50-50. Feel like Islam is waiting for the results of Jack and Bilal. I could see that as well. Yeah, that's in like what, a month? If Jack beats Bilal, maybe he moves up to 170. Watching the Elkins fight felt like witnessing a crime. Yeah, that one was bad. Darren Elkins. I mean, the fact that he was on a 2-fight winning streak should say a lot about those guys that he beat. Because Julian Erosa, he's a good fighter, but if you're getting mollywopped by Julian Erosa like that, where you're stumbling all over the place, I was watching it with my family, and they thought that guy was legitimately retarded. Like the way he was running around. I don't know. He's not even running. He's like stumbling around the cage. So awkward. Every punch that Julian Erosa threw like would barely graze him, and he'd be tripping over his feet, falling all over the place. It was a bad look for Darren Elkins. I think it's probably time to hang him up after that. You think Jon Silva would have beaten Volk last night? Possibly, bro. Possibly. I think Jon Silva puts him in a body bag. A body bag, bro. What do you think about Dan Ige stoppage? Terrible stoppage. Absolutely terrible stoppage. I don't know what that ref was doing because Sean Woodson got rocked with like a left hand, but he never got dropped. Sean Woodson was the guy that went for the takedown. It's not even like Woodson got dropped to the ground and then he was just holding on a leg. He went for the takedown. Ige's landing these rabbit punches to his head. Woodson's just bails on the takedown. He's about to stand up and the ref steps in. Stupid stoppage. I also don't know how Ige was up 20-18 on the scorecards going into the third round. That was a little bit weird, but Ige gets it done. Dan Ige gets it done, I guess. Chandler needs to retire. Why was trying to RNC Paddy? I don't know what he was doing, bro. That's the thing. I don't know what Chandler's game plan was. Like, it's every time with a Chandler fight. What is your game plan? The game plan, I guess, to me, looked to be take this guy down, wear him out, and you'll take over later in the fight because you have more experience and you're going to kind of bank on Paddy gassing. Well, he took him down, but Chandler doesn't have any jiu-jitsu. Okay, he doesn't have any jiu-jitsu. Paddy's jiu-jitsu is way better. So he took Paddy down, wasn't able to do anything, tired himself out, and then Paddy just took over. Other than that, like, what was the game plan? Chandler wasn't really throwing much on the feet. He was kind of at range with Paddy where Paddy could use his kicks. And he's just outgunned. Like, the fight IQ wasn't there. If I was Chandler, or if I was Chandler's coach, I would have told Chandler, go in there, throw some fucking haymakers, and you got to knock him out. You ain't going to just out wrestle Paddy. Like, he's a better grappler than you. Chandler don't have the jiu-jitsu to deal with Paddy. So, bad look on Chandler, as usual. Landed 11 significant strikes, dude. Unbelievable. Chandler does need to hang it up, but he won't. I would love Yair versus Diego, but do you believe Hunter Campbell actually promised Yair a title shot with a win? I don't believe that. I don't believe that whatsoever. Someone's smoking. I think it's done, boys. I think we're good. Who would you match up Chandler with next? You know what? I was actually thinking about this, but I just completely forgot. There was an up and comer. I thought they could feed him too. do fucking actually no. Doesn't Bahamondes have a fight? Yeah, he's fighting Fazeev. Chandler and Moicano? Nah, we can't do that. That would actually be funny though. I don't know. Don't really care, honestly. Isn't Bruna Brazil a fighting nerd? That's what everyone says. She's not really, though. She's not. She has been a fighting nerd for like 3 years or so, but she wasn't an originated fighting nerd. Like she didn't start her journey with the fighting nerds. Let's just say that. I think Prates will get it done, to be honest. Fighting nerds are too good and well-rounded. Yeah, I mean, if he and Gary shoot some takedowns, maybe Carlos Prates fucking submits him. We'll see. Danige. What's your favorite 3 cards you have ever seen? UFC 300, definitely up there. I was there in person. That was a good one. UFC 281, I think it was. That was pretty good. I think that was an MSG card when Pereira knocked out Adesanya in round 5. And honestly, that one card, I don't remember the number, but when Usman knocked out Masvidal, Rose knocked out Wei Lee, Chris Weidman leg break. That was a pretty good card as well. That's just off the top of my head, though. What's going on, my guy? I hope everything is going better in life, brother. I appreciate you, my guy. That guy with the baby called Jon Silva's sub. Yeah, our boy Jake. You don't deserve it. Yeah, you don't deserve it. I get it would be cool for the Mexico card, but that fight was so one-sided. Dude needs one more win. Yeah, I guess. Okay. What do you think about the Danny Gay stoppage? I already said that. Shot parlay show. I'm pretty backed up on the fucking chats, boys. I'm sorry. I might be yapping here. What do you think about Abus and Pereira in 2 weeks? Michel Pereira should beat him, bro. He should beat Abus. Who would you give Paddy next? Charles Oliveira, bro. What are your thoughts on the PFL card this upcoming week? I think there's some good matchups and possible solid guys to bet on or do 2-leg parlays. Well, I can tell you right now, the PFL card this week was a lot better than the PFL card last week. Last week's card was pretty rough. The type of guy to get submitted by a striker, go to a decision with a brawler, and get KO'd by a submission specialist because of this. Paddy by KO is definitely a possibility. Yeah, that's facts. I mean, Chandler is just volatile as hell. Please check on Matty Betts. You should have been there to counsel him. What's wrong with him? I know he said he was down bad, but I've seen that many times, so I think he'll be all right. He'll bounce back. Not a lot of people want to fight Jon Silva. Bryce is slick for taking that fight. It was a dangerous matchup for him. Yeah, you got to give him props because I know a lot of people probably aren't signing on the dotted line to fight Jon Silva. That is true. What do you think about the Ige stoppage? It was bad. Ige stoppage was bad. That ref Andrew Glenn needs to go. I mean, I know Andrew Glenn has been around before, but I did not. I was like, dude, Andrew Glenn? This is what we got for a pay-per-view? Like, where the fuck is Herb Dean, you know? Jeez. Max versus Diego needs to happen. Max Holloway versus Diego Lopez? I don't know, man. I thought Max was moving up to 155. Was a fan of Silva till he acted like an absolute retard at the presser and said he was fighting for Israel. Yeah, that was he was like very weird at the presser. But the guy is an insane fighter, and I think he's just severely autistic. So if he's gonna act super weird like that, you got to take it with a grain of salt because he's not all there mentally. I could tell you that. All right, boys, I'm gonna cut the IG live. If you're in the IG live, come on over to YouTube. There's a link on my story. You're getting cut off. They're cut. If Silva didn't finish Bryce, he was about to go over the 35 significant strikes. Thank God he went under. Great pick, boss. Dude, I was sweating that one. I was sweating that one because I had 3 legs left at that point. Jon Silva was one of them. And I was like, please, Bryce, just keep going for those takedowns. Like, just keep grappling. And then when he had that ninja choke locked up, I was like, please fucking finish it. Needed that fight to end so quickly. Did he say that out of? Yeah, I guess he did. Did the 20x hit? I saw the strikes you posted, but do they have to land or just throw in significant strikes? Yeah, they got to land, bro. They got to land. The 20x hit, the 100x hit. We swept everything. Swept everything, boys. Tell the kid. Who's next for a lightweight title from the UFC side? I mean, it's Islam versus fucking Topuria because Topuria's going to beat everybody, brother. Kevin Vallejos versus Jean rematch. You think Kevin has a chance? Well, Kevin's got to put in some work if he wants a Jean Silva rematch. I can tell you that. Jean Silva is about to be a ranked flyweight or a featherweight. He'll be at what, 13? And he ain't going to be fighting backwards. I can tell you that. Hey, John, congrats on that 16K win. Volk would get knocked out the same exact way from Topuria. That is probably true. Probably true. That is probably true. I do have to say, I don't think Volk, obviously he's not completely washed, but he's not back. He's not back entirely. You know, there's got to be a little bit of an asterisk on that Volk 2-time champion thing because the only reason he got a chance, I want to say the only reason he got a chance, but the only reason he got the belt back is because the dude that he lost the belt to moved a weight class. Okay, so there's a little bit of an asterisk on that 2-time champ for Alexander Volkanovski. I got to give him props because he went out there and he beat the guy that the UFC lined him up to be facing. But there's an asterisk next to it, okay? Because the guy that knocked him out, he didn't rematch him. He moved up a weight class. Could you see 3 or 4 or more of the fighting nerds becoming champion? After last night, I think Jon Silva could definitely be a champ. I think Kyle Bahalio could definitely be a champ. After Prates fights Gary, we'll have an answer there. Shout out to 1000x on better. It was 100x, but $100 to win 10K. Easy money. Let's go CB delivery. That's a shame. I was excited for Tony versus Danis. What a waste for all the fighters who left the UFC for GFL. Yeah, that's facts. They are getting screwed. I'd be on the Marcos side. He's one of the most underrated. Volk versus Mozart probably next. Rather see than the Yair versus Volk no rage bait. No, I would rather see that as well. Volk versus Mozart. Yeah, he did do that. Montel KO. Zhang KO. Prates KO. Prates. Reyes light heavyweight champ loading. Not gonna happen, brother. Not gonna happen. Reyes is good, but like his 3-fight win streak is just still ain't doing it for me, boys. Okay, I don't think he's completely back. You think Mihawk becomes a lot better now since he's with the fighting nerds? Probably not, bro. Probably not. He just fought a guy I do not believe in. Any looks on Cody Durden versus Jose Ochoa? Don't know the odds, but I think Ochoa could beat him. McJiverson. Wow. I like that. The man, McJiverson. Not gonna lie, these are the best type of streams you do, bro. Hey, might have to do a few more, eh? Appreciate you for joining. Chandler versus Moicano is the move. I think that'd be sick, low-key. Chandler likes to get beat up in a game. Come on, bro. I think Pereira should beat Abus. He should. What's the odds on DDP? DDP, I think, is like plus 170, plus 180 to Khamzat right now. Chandler versus Ludovic Klein. Klein would beat him. Not even capping. Ludovic Klein would beat him. Portnoy wearing a little hat, waving an Israel flag at the fights with Silva won. Super weird and cringe. 100%. That was weird. That's easy money. Chandler versus Grant Dawson. Grant Dawson would do bad things to him. Chandler could knock him out, but like if Grant gets a takedown, it's over. Chandler versus Faraziem. I think Faraziem would beat him. I think a lot of people will beat Chandler at this point. Grant Dawson versus Gamrot. Be an interesting one, but they're teammates, and I don't think they would fight. Prates hits like a truck. He does. Dan Hooker versus Chandler. Let Hooker get his get back, or do Hooker versus Paddy and Money Moicano or Gamrot versus Chandler. They're never going to make Gamrot versus Chandler. I don't think they would ever make that. They're just going to give Chandler either up-and-coming guys or fights that he could slug it out with. Jean Silva might just be the best fighting nerd now. Thoughts? I don't know if I can disagree with you, bro. I think that's a pretty fair take. 261 was a good card. Paddy versus Connor at the O2 mic drop. Connor ain't ever fighting in the UFC again, bro. 290 was good. Yeah, 290 was a solid card. Jean Silva versus Arnold Allen. That would be a solid fight. I could see them making that low key. I feel like Arnold Allen would say yes. Usman versus Masvidal was 261. Sounds about right. Claiming a Brazilian fighter for doing your work while having no talent in the UFC from your own country is crazy. I don't know what that's for. Hot take. I think the only other guy who gives Jean Silva a run for his money and is up and coming is possibly Chepe Mariscal. That is a hot take. I think Chepe is a really good fighter, but he don't have the striking to deal with Jean, bro. I think Jean would probably counter him and knock him out. How's my night going? Pretty solid. Just on the live stream, chopping it up with y'all. When Trump came out, I knew Dom was winning. It's funny. Is that PFL card this week still good? I heard that Shabili dude who fought Usman is off the card. Yeah, I mean they got some good fights this week, actually. It's like some solid ones. Nothing too crazy, but some solid fights. No UFC next week. That's whack. Yeah. Easter weekend. They always take the weekend off. Tony fought Paddy better than Chandler. MMA math just don't make sense. So true, bro. So true. It just never does. Do you think O'Malley Merab rematch goes the same way, or does Sean have a better shot at this time around? He seemed like a shell of himself in the first fight. He looks locked in this time around. Interesting. I think O'Malley does have a solid chance to beat Merab in a rematch, but he's going to have to find the perfect shot, and he's going to have to knock him out cold. Like, you're going to have to put Merab completely unconscious. You can't even rock him because he's going to be able to recover, and then he's just going to out-cardio you. He's going to fucking point at you. He's going to dance in your face. He's going to make fun of you while he's fighting you because he's just got an endless gas tank. He's just going to hold you up against the cage, knee your thigh. So O'Malley's got to find the perfect shot. He's got to land it, and he's got to put Merab unconscious. The fact that the fight actually went to a fairly close decision from the judges in the first fight gives some leeway because Merab was very cautious about that one-shot knockout power from Sean. So he didn't take too many chances, and the fight was very boring. Like, Merab just pretty much dumbed that fight down to, I'm not going to strike with you unless you're tired. That's pretty much what he boiled it down to. So there's a possibility for O'Malley to win, but the margins, I think, are fairly slim. How you only got Drickus behind you? Because I had to move on a few minutes notice, and I didn't get to bring any of my stuff, but I got this in the mail from my homie Nicholas, and I got to throw something behind me, you know? How many defenses do you think Volk gets before he either retires or loses again? Depends who they match him up with. Could he beat Movsar Evloev? Possibly. But I think Movsar is an absolute stud. If you give Volk Yair, I think Volk could beat Yair. Other than that, there's not many other guys. There's not. So it'd have to probably take a Jean Silva stepping up to the plate after he gets another win or two. And Jean Silva gets that fight with Volkanovski. Jean Silva is putting Volkanovski unconscious, okay? You're the DFS GOAT, consistently making us money. That's what I love to see. The GOAT, the DFS king, that's what we say. That's what they say. And I don't disagree. Tell the kid on the DFS. If you are, props to you. If you're not, what are you doing? What are you doing, boys? Chandler versus Jim Miller. Actually, I'm not even joking with you. If Chandler falls out of the rankings after like one more loss, that's a fight that they might fucking make. Honestly, that's not even out of the realm of possibility. Any dogs jump out to you on the next UFC card? Prates, maybe. Nicholas Dalby, maybe. Yeah, that's about it. Those are the only ones that jump out. Battle of the Featherweight Golden Gloves. Sean Woodson versus Aaron Pico. Oh my God. I mean, I know Aaron Pico fairly well from watching him in Bellator. I think Pico will probably knock him out low-key or wrestle him up. Who do you think wins DDP Khamzat, and do you think Kyle beats either? I think DDP beats Khamzat, but if you put DDP and Kyle Bahalio in an octagon, my butt would be puckered for DDP, okay? Bahalio is good. Bahalio is good. So that one would scare me. I don't know if I could back DDP with big money against Kyle Bahalio. Humans won last night, and by humans, I mean, come on, bro. Come on. Conor versus Paddy would be worse than Jones versus Stipe. Facts, dude. Facts. Who do you think will main event in July? DDP, maybe? I think it'll probably be DDP versus Khamzat. Possibly. Or they might do that for June. Gaethje versus Jon Silva would be such a good matchup, hypothetically. I know different weight classes. It would. It would be a solid matchup. O'Malley has the best chance of beating Merab, in my opinion, just because he can get Merab out early. Nobody gets Merab out of the fight in round 4 or 5. True. But I would disagree because I still think Umar Nurmagomedov has the best chance to beat Merab. If Umar doesn't break his hand in the first fight, I think that fight plays out differently. Where I think Umar may be able to squeak out another round within the last 3. Because I thought Umar won the first 2, and then Merab won the last 3. So that's, I think, the closest fight that you can get for a guy to beat Merab by a decision. I think Umar, if he doesn't break his hand in the first, probably has better cardio because he's able to be more effective and probably win more grappling exchanges because it's pretty tough to grapple with a broken hand. So I still think Umar has the best chance. Mally not winning, buddy? Okay. Who do you got in Abus versus Michelle Pereira fight? Geez, a lot of people love this fight, apparently. Thank you for the $1.99 dono, Gabby Gambles. I think Michelle Pereira should beat him, bro. I think he should beat him. Abus is chinny. He's a little bit of a gas tank, gas bag, I should say. He's a little bit of a gas bag. I like Abus. I think he's got good skills, but he's a little bit awkward in there, and I think Michelle Pereira should be able to beat him. But Michelle Pereira is also a gas bag as well. And if he doesn't knock him out within the first 2 rounds, then it gets a little bit dicey. I don't know if you remember last weekend, Sunday Service, I asked which fighting era would be champ, and I told you Silva, looking real promising right now. Sharp there, brother. Your DFS plays saved me hella from my 2K Lopez by KO play. Well, good. Saved you a little bit there. How much does your premium cost? Hit a 9-legger yesterday at plus 20,000. So got some spare cash. It's what, $24.99 a week? $89.99 a month. So if you have a very small bankroll, I don't think it's probably worth it for you. But if you're a guy that takes it serious and you're actually going to follow the plays and you're going to follow good bankroll management, absolutely. Because the results will back them up. 6 weeks winning streak in a row, almost positive 40 units on the year, over 100 units last year, over 150 units within the last 2 years. So right now we're on pace for about $200 units in 2025. So we're looking real good right now. I think we're dialed in. We're going to make some more money. Is Kyle the first champ from Fighting Nerds? Most likely, based on where he's at. You're crazy. You're crazy to think DDP doesn't have a chance against Khamzat. That's absolutely nuts. Merab moves and fights Ilya would be crazy. He would not do that. What do you think of Welmaker versus Simon card? Interesting fight because I saw Welmaker's Instagram and he's still working a job. And he was like talking about how he really needs a win and a finish to possibly get the performance bonus, a 50K performance bonus. And if he gets a 50K performance bonus, he can quit his job so that he can be a full-time fighter. Apparently, he's been a part-time fighter throughout his entire MMA career. Like the guy works, I think he said like 5 a.m. to 5 or 6 a.m. till 5 in the afternoon or something like that as a welder or something like that. And then he trains at night. So Welmaker's good, man. And he's very motivated. Simon, I think Simon's good, but I think Welmaker could maybe give him a really tough fight and possibly KO him. Who do you think main events for 317? I believe that's the June card, and I think that's probably going to be DDP versus Khamzat. Thoughts in MMA Guru. Every live stream, somebody asks me this. I say the same thing. I think most of the stuff that he says is the truth. Both get as big. I don't know what that means. Next champ to lose their belt. And who too? Next champ to lose their belt is Bilal Muhammad. He's going to lose that belt next month against Jack Della. Jack Della's winning, bros. Probs, Pantoja, K-Car, France. Nah, it's Pantoja beating him, bro. Rainer DeRitter versus Bo Nickel. Who? Give me DeRitter, bro. Give me DeRitter. Because he's going to be like plus 250, plus 300. Give me Rainier, bro. Rainier by sub. I got John Silva, end of year champ at plus 20,000 to win $5,000. I think it's live. I do think that's live as well. Solid play. Bo Nickel's time has come. Agree? What's the plan for this next fight night? Win money. Win coin. Go back to back with the 100X, with the 20X. Cash it all. That's the plan. Don't you think plus 500 on Pena is a bit too wide? I do think that's pretty wide because she's not easy to finish. It's a 5-rounder. She's got good cardio. She's got a lot of heart. Her stand-up is kind of gross, but so is Kayla Harrison's. Her wrestling's not bad. Plus 500 is a lot. It is pretty wide. You think Fiorot beats Shevchenko at 315? I think she's a very live dog. Is Fiorot the dog? For some reason, I thought it was a pick 'em. 315. Fiorot's a slight favorite. Damn. I think Fiorot can beat Shevchenko, yeah. Pena's getting run over. Yeah, come on. Welmaker W has fight of the night potential on that card and two very solid prospects. Is DDP plot armor really stronger than Caucasus region plot armor? We're going to find out. If you know who's behind me right now, I believe in my boy DDP. After the money I won last night, I know last week I think I said I was going to put like 4K on him. Might be up in it, boys. Might be up in it. All right. Kyle versus Imavov has to happen. Apparently, Imavov is ducking him. Kyle went on like a little rant about how Imavov is ducking him, and I believe it. I wouldn't want to fight Kyle Bahalio either, bro. Kyle gets Imavov out of there in under 3. I don't know if he finishes him, but I think he would win. If Bo beats DeRitter, who should he fight next? I don't give a fuck about Bo Nickel, okay? I really don't. Until Bo Nickel beats like a real fighter. Like if he beats DeRitter, then we can talk. But until he does that, I don't care. Pena gonna lose to Kayla, but what are the odds for Kayla versus Nunes when Amanda comes back? Nunes, if Nunes comes back, I'm laying the fucking hammer on whoever she's fighting. Like Nunes comes back, she beats anybody. Doesn't matter. Imavov went through Allen and KO'd Izzy after he beat Cannonier. If any other division, he'd be fighting for the belt. It's fairly true. Fairly true. I find it crazy that people think Kyle is anywhere near as deserving as Imavov. I don't think he's as deserving. I just think they should fight. They should fight it out. Kyle versus Imavov. That's your number one contenders fight. Because you already know DDP versus Khamzat's going to happen. So they're the two that are kind of waiting in the wings. Make them fight. Pretty simple. Kayla Harrison looks like Hulk Hogan. Crazy. I can see that going that way for sure. Yeah. Sandhagen, Figgy, y'all thoughts? I'm going Sandhagen, bro. I think he's just younger, better at range, solid wrestling. I think Sandhagen wins. Kayla Harrison looking like Joe Rogan. That's crazy, bro. Not even close. Like, not even close. Kayla's way bigger than Joe. Come on now. Aspinall, end of year champ at -110. Bet the house. That one's risky. That one's risky, Gabby Gambles, because you don't know what Jon Jones is going to do. You just don't know. Like, let's say Jones just pushes the fight off until November, and then it gets booked, and then Jon pulls out with an injury. Then what happens? Like, then Aspinall's still the interim champion. Then the fight just doesn't happen. Like, then we don't get a heavyweight title fight in the year. So I guess maybe they would move on and, maybe force Jon to vacate. I don't know that they would do that, though. So Aspinall, end of year champ at -110. I wouldn't touch it because your bet's basically in the hands of Jon Jones. I want nothing to do with that. But appreciate you for the 199 dono again, Gabby Gambles. Yeah, exactly. You never know with Jon Jones. Is Joe Rogan the mini Kayla Harrison? I don't know. Then Tom gets promoted to undisputed. I don't think he would get promoted, though. They would probably make an undisputed title fight with somebody else. Maybe. Like, you just never know. Like, they wouldn't just promote him. Like, if he's the interim champion right now and Jones vacates or leaves, they wouldn't just promote him to the undisputed champion. They would make a fight for the undisputed championship. Who fight for the heavyweight belt after Aspinall Jones fiasco is decided? I think you'd have to probably throw Cyril Gahn versus like a Jailton Almeida. Make them fight, get your number one contender. Or maybe Pavlovich. Gahn versus Pavlovich? Why not? That would make sense. Gahn versus Pavlovich. Why isn't that not being made? Make fucking Gahn fight somebody, bro. For real. I'm tired of watching Cyril Gahn sit on the sidelines, pick his ass, and get whatever fight he wants. It's ridiculous. All right, boys. I'm gonna jump out of here. I appreciate y'all for joining. Sunday Service episode number 44. In the books. UFC 314 last night. Insane card. Made tons of money. We got a week off. No UFC this Saturday. That sucks. But we're back at it the week after. We got Ian Gary versus Carlos Prates. UFC Kansas City. Should be a great card. I actually looked at it today. Really solid fight night card overall. So I'm looking forward to that. We got PFL this week, though. We'll be in check with that. I'll have some bets on that. Other than that, I appreciate y'all for joining. Like the video or like the live for me. Subscribe to the channel. Till next time, Hey Job Picks. We out.